All right, welcome to this week's FinX video with Built by Trading. Um, FinX continues to talk about a lot of these same names, so we're kind of going to fly through these a little bit. I do have some viewer questions and requests that I would like to also get to, and I'll get to those at the end. But first, what was most popular this week's on FinX for whatever reason? Number one was ONDS. I mean, I, it's coming into prior support in this area. That's pretty good. But look at the thing. It's under the 5, it's under the 10, it's under the 21, all declining. You're about to have a quote-unquote death cross, 50 EMA, crossing the 200 EMA to the downside, if you care about that stuff. It's under a ton of potential supply here. I wouldn't be shocked if we get we find support here just simply because it's prior support. We get a little bounce, maybe to the 8, maybe since it's pretty oversold from short-term wise from all the way down here, maybe we get something to 21, set a higher low, come here, retest this supply, and then I don't know, maybe accept back in and come here, or we get rejected and we head lower. It's a broken name, in my opinion. Until it proves itself, it is guilty until proven innocent. So I have zero interest in this unless you are a support buyer and a long-term holder. Then fine, I suppose. Good luck. Just manage your risk on it. TXN. We have earnings coming up this week on here, the 22nd of July, so Wednesday. It's interesting. It's underneath the 50 EMA. It's holding underneath. Last time it closed below the 50 EMA. It popped back above it. But, this is in a large consolidation. It was a stronger name, and now this could be a stage 3 distribution pattern, and we might start downtrending just like we've started downtrending in a lot of these chip and memory names already. So this just might be the laggard to the downside instead of the upside. If we break this 275 level, we have potential support at 260. Basically here, we have this gap fill here, right? And so we have a gap holding for now. But that just depends. I think we'll probably get this filled or work our way into it and maybe find our way to the 200 EMA. If you are a support buyer, this might be a decent area. But it's not my type of look. This isn't a huge chop zone. I'm not interested in big old chop zones. I'm interested in strong names breaking out. That's not that. VRT, at a prior level of support, which was prior resistance, which is interesting. We get a little push. It's under the 5, under the 8, under the 21, under the 50. It's in a big chop zone. Why touch this? It's not my style. I think you're better off finding names that are in play. Micron, this is kind of a head and shoulders pattern. This is kind of what I see here, right? There's left shoulder. Here is the head. And then the right shoulder is indeed lower than the left shoulder. Here's a neckline, broke the neckline, came back, gap down, came back in to retest it, rejected at the 5 and at the 50 EMA from below. If we head lower, don't be surprised. Okay? It found support at this prior resistance area, which is great and all dandy. That's fine. Whatever it does now matters. If this continues lower, I wouldn't be shocked if we head to 650. If that breaks, maybe we're hitting the 200 at 560. It's already 32% off the highs. And so, this, I'm not interested. A lot of people were drawing a downtrend line and, a break of that downtrend line in a wedge, blah, blah, blah. This thing is damaged. I don't see why you're super interested in it. Respectfully, I don't know why you are super interested in this when it creates a higher high, then gives that all back and finds a support at a prior low. The odds are not in favor that it's going to break a downtrend line and then rip higher. It's just, I don't understand. It's not my style. And if it's yours, good luck. That's fine. You make your money. I hope you do. NVIDIA looks interesting. Prior support, failed breakout, comes down, breaks a downtrend line, gaps below the downtrend line. However, it did hold this prior resistance area. So I do like the undercut and rally of this Thursday, July 9th. This looks pretty decent. I did draw oh no, that was Google. Never mind. We'll go over that shortly. This looks okay. It's holding the anchor VWAP from this low. It is below the 15, below the 21, but it looks like it's trying to chop around and consolidate. I'd be interested in this next week. Ideally, you might be able to risk Friday's low, that last week's low now. Might be a good area to risk against, or an undercut of Friday's low and rally. It's already like kind of tagged the 200 EMA area, so it looks like it's setting up. It just needs some confirmation. PLTR looks solid short term. Just recognize it held the anchor VWAP from this low. That's where this gap down to held and got a very strong buying candle, which is nice. This area right here, let me draw a line for you so you can easily see it. This area is 135 area, has been constant supply. This also here is the anchor VWAP from the last earnings report. I'm sorry, 2 earnings reports ago. So that continues to be a resistance area. It's under the 50. It's under the 200. So don't be surprised if we get rejected at the 200. The chances, this is a lower low here. So this could be a from failed move come fast move, right? It failed to sell lower. It came back in this large range, and it looks like it is accepting into it now. It needs to continue to accept into it. It's a good sign. It just needs to prove itself. It's proven until, or it's guilty until proven innocent. That's how I am seeing that. HIMS, another popular one, continues to be popular. It broke this prior support, or sorry, resistance, came support, broke this prior resistance, failed to hold it at support, never really got to this prior like $41 resistance. It's at an interesting level. It's underneath the 221. It's underneath the declining 5 and 8. However, we are about to get a potential golden cross here. If you care about that stuff, don't put too much weight into it. But that is when the 50 crosses the 200 EMA from the bottom side. It's just basically a trend reversal type look. This name has potential. I think it just needs some time to chop around to let these shorter term EMAs flatten out to start curling, and then maybe we can tread higher. But I would say this, $30 area is interesting. So you have a few percentage points to go. Tesla earnings, I believe, on Wednesday. This looks interesting. I most likely won't touch it before Wednesday. However, it looks like it's heading to 360. I wouldn't be shocked if we tag that. If that breaks, I would not be shocked if we tag 337, 336 area. We have some pivot on caps from 829 still holding there. So that is interesting. Overall, though, it still continues to be sloppy and choppy. Last week, I was saying, hey, it looks like this level needs a nice undercut. And ideally, it rallied and held the 390 area. It did not rally. Now it's accepting below. So that was your out if you took that trade, was that failure of that 390. Rocket Lab has given a ton back. Just from these highs to where it closed, down 55.37, 55.2% off its highs. That's not a sign of a healthy stock. SpaceX IPO basically wrecked the space theme. It is at the same time at an interesting level. You see this prior consolidation area. It's at the interesting level. Before, when it was consolidating, here's an undercut, and then it rallied, and then it broke out, held the breakout, and then it absolutely ripped. I'm pretty sure there's on some news and some earnings. I did take this trade within here, and I caught a nice trade. Out of that, I think I sold around the 50 EMA. So I gave a lot of it back, but that's my rules, right? I entered, it was supposed to be a moderate to longer term hold. It got a little too far extended. Okay, I add at the 50. I didn't have any cash to add at the 50. But once it broke the 50, I was out. I wasn't willing to give everything up. So, but either way, there's an undercut and rally right there. It's back at that area. That's not a healthy stock, right? If this area breaks, I see it could go to 56. Otherwise, you can see this prior support around 52. If that breaks, next you go 38. You just go level by level with this stuff. New holdings, have no idea what this is, but what I do know is underneath the 200 EMA, it continues to get rejected by it. It's creating lower lows and lower highs. Like maybe it's going to start reversing, but it's got to get above the 200 EMA. Keep it simple. Google. I thought this was a reverse head and shoulders. It looked great, right? And then we got Gemini delay news. got crushed very quickly and then gapped down. It's holding this prior breakout area, which is nice. It undercut here. So this $338, $340 level, I'll say, is a important area to continue to hold. If that breaks, we're probably heading to 318. So just be mindful of that on Google. Next one, VPG. Have no idea what the shape precision. Super low volume stock. Why are you guys interested in this? Below the 8, below the 21, below the 50, below the 21. The 200, like we have a gap holding here from 88.06 to 90 so far. That then there's another gap from like 70. What's a low this day here? 79.15 to 68.70. You know, I can see this pulling all the way back to the 200 EMA. I don't know how this name trades, but it got very extended very quickly. So, well, welcome to the casino. ASTS, another, you know, space name. This looks like it's headed to, you know, just look left, right? You go level by level. That's what you do. Find level of interest where price held. You keep it real simple. This is melting. Below the 5, below the 8, below the 21, you to get a death cross of the 50 and 200. That's probably coming. It's super extended. SPCX broke the space theme. So yeah, those are the top names. Here's the history of them. I'm not going to go through them. I'm trying to keep this relatively short. Reddit got undercut there. CIBR, the cybersecurity still looks pretty decent, kind of chopping around in this zone. Ideally, it holds us 21. If it doesn't, we might head down to 86, 78. So just be mindful of that. If you're trading CrowdStrike and things like that, which we are going to go over. Next section here, I have some viewer questions. Desh, thank you for your questions. I appreciate them. We're going to go over them now. Firstly, you said IREN, IREN. Looks like it's a reversal. Politely, I said, I don't think I agree with you here. Let me tell you why. Okay. Number one, it's in a huge consolidation area. Okay. It's not doing anything. This stuff is tradable, right? But this is not a reversal type look. This is a big chop, huge, like 100% range. It's massive. You can trade this for sure, but this is not a reversal look. Also, it looks pretty decent. Maybe you can say it's, in my opinion, a support play because it's coming to a prior area of support. I wouldn't mind an undercut of 31, this low right here, and then a reclaim of that. And then maybe we can start kicking. And you can have a pretty nice risk reward entry potential there. And then if you're, if you're doing a support play based off of that, then you can just ignore these EMAs and all that stuff. But this is just in a huge range, huge consolidation. So it found support prior, it has a indecision doji here. It's extended to the downside. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a little bounce, but I don't think this is a reverse type look. I'll see if we come across a reverse look. I'll show you what I think that looks like. Okay, another question. How do you find an upside level on 52-week all-time high stock like CRWD and NET? Okay, this is what I know, okay? All-time highs at 6.63%. Cybersecurity, I'm mentioning it. It's been a strong theme, okay? So what you do is you can go the way that I know. You go from, so you find the base, the most recent base, okay? You go from that low to the high of that base, okay? And then basically, I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to paste it, and you double it, okay? So if it breaks out somewhere around here, we're looking at a target of 240 bucks, okay? That's basically what you do. You go from the low to the high, and then you double it, okay? That's how you do that. I'm not a super fan of targets. I would rather just trail my stop. Just naturally the way that I trade, I'm for my shorter term trading strategies, I am an aggressive short term swing trader. So I go in heavy. I don't go like percentage of my account and I hold for 3, 4, 5 weeks. I'm in for like 2, 3, 4, 5 days. unless something really starts rolling and holds a 3-day pivot, et cetera, et cetera. I'm rarely holding more than a week. In my longer term things, I also do not use targets, because then I keep it super simple and I say, as long as this is holding the 21 EMA, I will, I'll just let it go. If it breaks to 21, I'll take some profits. If it gets to the 50, I will reconsider if I can add and then hold the name, or if it breaks the 50 and starts heading down to the 200, I'll take more profit, trim it up a little bit. If it gets to the 200, I'll reassess if I need to add there. If it breaks to 200, I am fully out. A name is not investable if it breaks to 200 EMA for me. So that is kind of my rules. So it depends on how, differently how you are trading, but that is basically how you do the figure out how you would do the high to lows. So from here, what I would do is we can just do this low to the high here. Okay, Control copy that. This is a failed breakout, by the way. That's what I consider it. If it were to break out, we're looking at 225 bucks. Okay, low to high of this triangle pattern, wedge pattern, we're looking at 225. That's how I would play that if you are actually looking at like targets. Okay. Next question was, how do you act like ANET and TEM failed breakouts? So when a name fails to break out, how do you act? What do you do about it, right? Let me get this up here. All right. Oh, shoot, I did NET. I did ANT instead of NET. My bad. Either way, the target, so I would say this nice base here, you go, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. Here's NET. Here to here, nice large base, like an over a solid multi-month base. If we can break out, double it, and ideally it runs to 360 bucks or so. Okay, that's what I would look for in that name. It's nice. It's uptrending still. It looks pretty good. Cloudflare looks good, right? That's a name. I'd say this is a name to be in. Okay, going back, failed breakouts. What do you do? Okay, this here, this looks like a potential reversal look. This is what you want to see. Downtrend line. So this is phase 4, downtrend line, lower lows and lower highs. Then what happens? It finds a bid. It starts consolidating. So we're back into phase 1. Okay, back into phase 1. But what is happening? The 200 EMA is still going down. The 200 EMA is starting to flatten. It broke above the 200 EMA, which is a wonderful sign. Now what we look for is something to an area, ideally held right here, 53, right? There's prior resistance. If that fails, you look for the last prior area of support. Again, you go level by level. And so when this is a level we're looking at a breakout from, right? This 5750 area. This is your risk, right? So you get in somewhere around here. You don't think about it. Before you get in a trade, you know when you're getting out. So your out is when the breakout fails. Why? Because typically from failed moves comes fast moves. And so when a name is in range and it fails to break out, the opposite end range is target. It happens all of the time. And so target here, if you want to say this is one big range, it's in here. Target, really? It's probably 46 bucks. Will it get there? Odds that it will get there. If that breaks, then what do? You go level by level. You go on your chart, you match the highs and the lows, areas that found resistance, areas that found support, and you go level by level. Those are your areas of interest, okay? But the 200 is still going down. The 50, well, this needs to find a higher low somewhere. Hopefully that makes sense. ANET, failed breakout, right? This is the failed breakout. It's back to the downtrend line. It found support at the downtrend line. So we break out here. If you get in here, your stop loss is your stop loss could be on this day. Maybe you even do a stop loss below the low of the breakout day. It depends on, depending on where you got in here. I don't like that personally. I don't like to have a stop loss more than like maximum is 3.5%, 4% for me. Ideally, I have like a nice 1.5 to 2% stop loss. So it's real tight. And if I'm right big, and I'm right away. If I am wrong, I am wrong right away, and I lose small. This is what works for me personally. So when you have a failed breakout, remember, from failed moves comes fast moves. Opposite end range is target. This is a little bit harder, but we've already hit the target here, which is this uptrend line. Okay, so it found support, and ideally it continues to chop up. But don't be surprised if it fails and heads lower. It could head to this 21. So what do you do next? You go level by level. What are we looking at? This is a pivot on gap here, which held, right? But you go level by level. Where did it find support? It found support in this area. Then if that area fails, where does it go? It might go to this area. Okay. You go level by level. This pivot on gap held from this day. It was a nice reversal day. Okay. That's what you do. If not, the 200 EMA is there. If that fails, we're looking at this rather large area. You can go, thin 137 and then 135. I'm just going to keep it at a general area. You go level by level. All right. So that's what happens. You know when you get out. You know when you are getting out before you are even getting in. If you are trading a breakout, it needs to break out. If the breakout fails your level, you get out. You get out of the way, because from failed moves comes fast moves, and those moves can come quick. And if you don't manage your risk, you can get crushed. Your number one job is to save your butt. Your number one job is to manage your risk. Those that survive are the ones that win. If you do not survive, if you do not stay in the game, you have no chance at winning. So you manage your risk. Okay. I hope that makes sense. No, this is ever financial advice, by the way. All right. Number 3, what is your plan on space? Space thing? Gosh, space is a thing, right? Space is definitely a thing. Has been pushed a lot. Let me go to my universe here and go to the space area. All right. SPCX. This has no prior history, right? So I took a short here. Go watch my short video on how I did that execution wise. But it would have worked wonderfully if I continue to hold it. I'd be up huge amounts right now, but that's fine. I think I was pushing it to extension anyways. This has no price history of prior support. We have to wait until this finds some sort of balance and some sort of support somewhere, which can be completely random when the market chooses to do so. So we have no price history to refer to. There is nothing to the left to find prior levels at. And so you really have to just kind of sit on your hands and stay out of this, especially if you're trying to go long. I would not long this right now. Unless you're a long-term holder, sure, whatever. This could go to 100, it can go to 90, it can go to 75. You don't know. And so you just have to be mindful of that. So space theme is completely broke. SpaceX broke it. I already went over these names, right? I think these are levels of interest, but the plan is time. These names are broken. They have gotten crushed. There's a lot of trapped, quote unquote, trapped. Nobody's actually trapped. You can get out if you want to. It's your choice when you get out, right? But there's a lot of potential supply overhead as these things continue to try and turn around. And so this is at a stage 3 decline. We need to wait for some sort of base action here. This is a reversal type look, okay? A basing action. So this name melted here, chopped around from March of 25 to December of 25, and then it broke out and just completely ripped. So maybe we need a few months of basing, 7-8 months of basing after this. I think long term, it's a place to be in. If you're a long term investor, yeah, sure, why not? Especially with AI, energy needs, compute needs, it makes sense, I guess, to go out in space, especially if we're environmentally forward and all this stuff, which is all good. But I think the space theme is broken. Okay, it is broken right now. I would not be trying to catch a falling knife. Most of these are underneath the 200 EMA. IRDM is only up here. It's because of the Rocket Lab buyout news. That's the only reason why it's not getting crushed, and it's working on a huge gap fill, right? So I would just be like, all of these names are related to space and industrial defense and things like that. They're not looking the best. well, I guess Archer and all that stuff is, but SpaceX, Rocket Lab, Lunar, ASTS, PL, IRDM, all those, LMT and NOC have a little bit of space stuff, and for sure GE does too. So does RTX. So it doesn't look good. Okay, space thing doesn't look good. What I plan to do, I plan on just sitting on my hands. I like to short. I might short some on some bounces, but I'm not shorting down here because they're all super extended to the downside. So I protect my risk. Good. Okay. What what entry and how do you find what level you should get in trade? So I've been going through this entire video. Okay. You go level by level and levels of interest. I am not interested in names that are below the 200 EMA that have declining EMAs. So a 5, an 8, a 21 declining. I'm only interested in looking for short setups in these names, not long setups. Some long setups I would be interested in. I'll give you an example. What are these doing? These are strong names. They're going up and to the right. It just broke out of the base. I look for entry levels. Levels of interest. I do not buy. This is not my execution plan. I do not buy off of the 8 EMA. I do not buy off of the 21 EMA. I do not automatically buy off of the breakout areas, but those are the levels that most equities traders watch. They have some sort of MAs, whether it's a smooth or an EMA, exponential, and they level out, they put their levels, the breakout levels, prior support levels, prior resistance levels. They look at EMAs, and then they look at intraday action of how to enter, basically, right? And so to answer your question, you go level by level, you look at resistance support flips, RNSs, SNRs, support resistance flips. What was resistance? Then hopefully this ideally becomes support. If it's already trending, let's see if we can find something that's already trending up and to the right here. These are not looking good. No, all of these actually look like trash right now. LNG, here we go. Here's, oh no, sorry, VLO. I love when I take 2 trades, wanting this, like to catch this move, only to get stopped out for it to go without me. What a massive trade. That's, part of the game. So you'll look for areas of pullback. What is this name respecting? This is the 5 EMA, this is the 8. It's like respecting the, I don't know, the 6 in here, the 5, the 6, the 7, in between this range, right? So you look for areas of interest of, you have 3 days of consolidation here. It broke that. Did it find support? Found support there, found support there. It's going up, all right? If you're on a shorter time frame. Now, what are we looking for support for? 3 days of consolidation. Broke that. Now it's trending up. Eventually, it's probably going to get a little extended. It's going to have to time correct, chop sideways, or pull back deeper. But that's what you do. You go level by level, look for EMAs that you're using, whatever works for you, and you look for prior support and resistance or trend lines, areas of interest. These are not execution areas. The market does not, let me be very clear. The market does not care about the lines that you are drawing on the chart. Okay. They are areas of interest. They are areas of interest for you. Everybody sees this stuff, by the way. Okay. Everyone sees these levels. They're very obvious, especially to the trained eye. If most people can see it, most of the time it's not going to work. So you have to figure out how to take advantage of these areas and plan ahead of time. They are not automatically execution areas. You have your plan, you manage your risk. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, you just get out of the way. Okay. All right. That is this week's on FinX. Thank you for your questions. Keep them coming. Give me names, tickers. If you found this video valuable, like, subscribe, tell your friends. I appreciate your guys' time. And I will catch you next week on the FinX. Come join my X Spaces this evening with Dan. It's 7:30 Eastern time. We do it every Sunday as we can. We have a nice streak going, so we prep for the market. So come listen to us, prepare with us, and we have a big earnings week coming up this week, so we need to prepare for it. Again, like, subscribe. Thank you for your time. I'll catch you next week. Later.